yeah, I guess so. I'll talk about making a short film in 3 days. So initially it started as a 24-hour challenge. I was supposed to have this done, shot, filmed, that's the same word, from conception to, actually exporting the video. It was supposed to take within 24 hours, which obviously didn't happen. I've got an idea. I'm giving myself 24 hours to write, shoot, and edit a short film. It was 3 days later, but I did it, I guess. I had gotten the idea from STN. It's a student television network, which is really cool. It's like a conference for broadcasting and filmmakers that are young. We didn't get to do any of the challenges, but I really liked the idea of them. So one day I was sitting at home and I was like, I really want to film. Oh, so something clicked in my noggin and I was like, let's do a 24-hour challenge. What could go wrong? I filmed everything, the behind the scenes. A lot of it is on my MacBook, so it's not really the highest quality, but it's still there. I needed an external drive, so I needed to go to Best Buy, and I was like, okay, I'll start the challenge at 6 p.m. So that should give me plenty of time to shower, go get the stuff I need, and I also plan on getting energy drinks because I plan on staying up for the full 24 hours. So I went to Best Buy. I got lost because I have no sense of direction. I already know that I'm over time. I think I was actually in the car like 4 minutes after the timer started. Okay, timer started 4 whole minutes ago. On my way back home right now. So I get home and it's already like 20 minutes overtime, but I stuck to it. I didn't stick to the deadline, but I stuck to my starting point. So clock was running and it's time to brainstorm. I'm thinking of ideas and I got a list of about 3 things, and then I land on one, which is waking up late, and I was like, I could do something with this. I could film this all in one room, and I had like this strict rule in my head that I was gonna stick to everything being in one room. And then immediately after, I was like, no, actually,
I did kind of just completely disregard what I've said.
I'm gonna go out and film. No, I'm not. No, I'm simply not. I built an entire timeline around the fact that I'd be going out and filming, and you'll hear about that in a second. And then I write out a little paragraph of what I want the story to be.
Waking up late. Our protagonist set a comedic amount of alarms preparing for this meeting, knowing she'd probably sleep through a few. What she didn't anticipate was sleeping through all of them. She scrambles out of bed, checking all of her clocks to make sure that she was in fact late, and she is. We follow her scrambling to put herself together, almost forgetting to leave the house before brushing her teeth. She runs out the door to get to her destination on time, and we see her waiting at a cafe for her date, who's late.
It took about like 5 minutes. For a while I debated script writing, storyboarding. Eventually I landed on the music.
I think by far the most important part of any project is the music. While I'm actively listening to music, I am visualizing what I could put there. I'm gonna start looking for music right now before I do anything else. Just do classical. Most of that tends to be pretty cinematic, just on its own. Alright. It needs to have like a bigger build-up really fast at the beginning, and it has to be kind of like upbeat the entire time.
And I found this perfect song. It had exactly like the swells that I was looking for. It had the tempo I was looking for. It was almost like godsend.
Perfect. I actually kind of love that one more than literally anything ever.
It was a little long, so I did have to end up cutting it to fit my project.
The music's repetitive intentionally. It's beautiful. This is a beautiful piece. It's just for me. I need to figure out how to make it work for this project.
But still, it's an amazing song. It's Attica. It was on Artlist. Love Artlist. Not sponsored, but one day. Download it. I talk about it in the video too. I'm saying like I'm gonna build my storyboard around the swells and everything. I get to the website, which I was planning on using, and then I'm like, I don't have time to storyboard.
So I'm not making a storyboard or a shot list. I decided that it'd be easier to directly work on the timeline. It's another thing that I'd have to learn, and I really don't have the time.
So I just go straight into DaVinci Resolve and I build out a timeline around the song.
Oh, fuck.
and I finish at like 3, I think, maybe 4. When I finished the timeline, I was listening to Bruno Mars and Thrift Shop, but Thrift Shop stuck, so I just kept listening to Thrift Shop over and over and recording different segments. So I don't really know what I'm gonna do with that. I might make a little edit here, I don't know.
Hey, Macklemore, can we go thrift shopping?
But everything's on the timeline, like down to the last second of where I wanted things, which in hindsight was a horrible idea. If things were to go awry, which they did, I didn't really have much of a plan, and I was kind of left scrambling. I get the whole thing built out, and then we're headed off to San Diego. Alright, anyways, so we get to the hotel, and I'm like, alright, I'm gonna start filming. I sit down, and I'm like, I don't really know how I want these framed or anything, because it's not a storyboard that I did. I just described out every single scene. And I think maybe for a couple of frames, like it had a description of what I wanted the shot to look like, but nothing else did. So I sat there for about an hour. Eventually I take my camera out, I put it on the tripod, I just get to work. I'm like, eventually it'll come to me. So it did. I got in kind of a flow, but it was also about 3, so I had like 3 hours of daylight, and even then I didn't use all of it strictly because I was trying to plan out shots. I was trying to use the lights, which also in hindsight I shouldn't have done. I'm not really great with lights. It was the first time I've ever like actually used artificial lighting. I usually just rely on natural lights because it's easier and there's not a lot of variable when it comes to that, but there was a lot of variable, so this ended up biting me in the butt, which I'll come to talk about in a second. So I think maybe for an hour I actually shot and got things that I liked. This irked me though. I edit the other versions of the clock to say the things that I needed to say. So on my phone it said 8:29. The microwave it said 8:29, and on the clock that I brought that is like 50 years old, it said 8:29. My MacBook, the biggest screen, the most glaringly obvious mistake that could have possibly happened, just slid right past me. It pulled a quick one over me, and I wrote 9:29. It was when I rewatched it about like 30 minutes after the fact and I finished filming for the day that I was like, I messed up. How did I do that? So I was putting more stuff on the timeline, and then I was preparing for the fact that I did not want to go out and film. I had planned on filming at a cafe in a city that I'm not from, and I don't know if I can leave my camera on a tripod unattended. I don't think that's really a good idea anyways. I don't have anybody else to film with, and I was not going to trust a stranger and be like, hey, watch this for me. That's not how that works. So I had to prepare for ditching that idea entirely. I stared at the timeline up until like 2 a.m. and then I was like, I'm gonna go to bed. So that's what I did. I went to bed. So yesterday morning, I woke up at 10, and then I was like, oh my god, what am I supposed to do? I fully contemplated just dropping the whole project. I was like, this sucks. I'm bored. I don't want to do this anymore. This isn't as fun as I thought it was. This is actually a lot of hard work. So I eventually suck it up. I'm filming, my heart's not in it. I'm kind of placing the lights haphazardly, just trying to light things instead of trying to make things look good. I filmed for like 4 hours, and then I fully ran out of ideas. I was confined to one room, and I had planned on going out, filming me in my car, filming me in the stairwell. There's a lot that I had to make up for, and I didn't want it to be repetitive. So I was like, okay, what am I supposed to do? I'm fully shot at this point. I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. This project sucks. It's probably not going to turn out great anyways. So I take what I have, I put it on the timeline, and I'm like, it was actually kind of fun. Because my favorite part of filmmaking is the editing process. By far the most creatively fulfilling, and that's really what I care about. I like shot composition. It's cool. I don't understand it too much, obviously, but I mean, editing is where my heart is. I made those, the text kind of describing what to do, all in orange, so that I'd see my progress every single time that I put a clip on the timeline and I finished editing it. Like, I'd delete the text that was beneath it that was orange, and it, like, I saw my progress physically in front of me. It helped a lot. I got the inspiration to do it again, so I got back up and I started filming, and I was filming up into the wee hours of the night. Probably wasn't good, because you can see a lot of differences in the shots. One more day to film the last bits, and that's all I need, and then I'm gonna edit. I'm editing up until like literally 5 a.m. this morning. Fresh out of bed, I'm already in the groove, so I filmed the last scenes that I needed, immediately get to work. I'm editing like a fucking monster. I don't stop for any reason. Eventually, it all gets to a point where I like it, but I'm kind of confused as to what to do with the text. I didn't know how to show time passing because I wasn't doing that through my filming. I had to show time passing rapidly in a 2-minute short. Eventually, I land on having text on screen. I'm also like, this kind of sucks, it looks tacky. So I go through the painstaking process of individually keying out me of every single frame so that I'm layering over the text to create some sort of dimension or whatever, I don't know. It looked cool, but I had to individually key out each frame because the tracking feature in Resolve simply wasn't working for me. I could not get it to work. Granted, I watched one video, but I just kept listening to what he said over and over, so that's probably why. Either way, I keyed out every single frame. I get done, an hour later, I go back to it, and it's all gone. All of the keying that I did, gone. I color graded, which is where I think that I fucked up. I copied and pasted the color grade, just the node, onto every single other clip. If you don't know how to work DaVinci, in the color grading tab is where you do your keying. I'm assuming that I had edited sometime after because I couldn't get it back. So I had to do it all over again. So much more work than I probably had to do. But I did it anyway. And it's done. That's it. That's the process of making this film. So that's what Late is.